Hello class. So how are you? Everyone? Fine? Okay, very good. So hope you got through the all four videos, the previous all four videos, whatever the videos uploaded there, the four lectures actually of this coordination chapter already uploaded, and I think you have gone through that. So you have to be gone through that. So let's start our next one, the new one, that is very important one now, because we are now going to are dealing to towards the theories, important theories that will explain the formation of coordination complex and the nature of coordination complex, because all those properties and nature of the coordination complex are actually exhibiting that must be explained through the different lectures, through the different theories, and the valency bond theory. The valency bond theory, that is the one of the theory that will explain the some basic nature of the coordination complexes here. So today in this lecture we will deal with the one of the important theory and that will explain the some important features, nature, properties, what you can say, of the coordination complexes or coordination compounds. The valency bond theory, the same theory also was given in the class 11th, as I think you are knowing about that. So we try to discuss about this theory in the context of the formation of coordination complex. Okay, so let us start what different types of coordination complexes and hybridized coordination complexes are you have to be go through in this section in this class 12 chapter. Okay, one by one. Students, look carefully. If the hybridization is sp3, if the four ligands, the four donor atoms or four coordinate bonds are formed with the central metal, it can be hybridized by either sp3 or dsp3. dsp2, because of the four donor atoms. This is for the coordination number 4. If the coordination number is 4, students, we have three possibilities actually. For the coordination number 4, we have two different categories. That is, either the coordination complex is tetrahedral and for that the hybridization is sp3, or the coordination complex is square planar in geometry and for that the hybridization is dsp2. dsp2. So there will be two categories. Okay. For coordination number 5, there is only one category, that is sp3d, and the geometry should be trigonal bipyramidal. And for the coordination number 6, which are very famous in the coordination complexes category, and your chapter also, most of the questions actually concerned with this coordination number 6, and this is divided into two different categories. The first category is, you can see, the sp3d2 hybridization, and the second category is d2sp3 hybridization. Both type of hybridization bear only octahedral geometry. So on the basis of geometry, there are four categories: tetrahedral, square planar, trigonal bipyramidal, and octahedral. On the basis of coordination number, there are three categories: coordination number 4, 5, and 6. And on the basis of hybridization, there are, you can see, a 5 category. By the way, sp3, dsp2, sp3d2, d2sp3, sp3d2, and d2sp3. So these are the subcategories divided into on the basis of different patterns, on the basis of coordination number, on the basis of hybridization, on the basis of geometries. One by one we will deal with the square planar, tetrahedral and octahedral, which are actually given most of the examples in your syllabus. Then further we will discuss about trigonal bipyramidal condition. Let's first learn how we came to know when will be these kind of geometries, and for any given example how can we decide, how can we identify that the given coordination complex will be come in the these categories one by one. Okay, first discuss we will of this, then we will take up an example, then we will take an example. Okay, one by one. This is the category of tetrahedral. This is one is square planar. Trigonal bipyramidal. And these two both call octahedral. Okay, these are the categories. Now, 4 types of geometries, 5 types of hybridization, and 3 types of coordination number. One more important thing that is you have to know about. The thing is D2sp2, DSP2 and D2sp3. The category of these 2 different types of hybridization are come under the inner core complex formation, are generally known as inner complex formation. What is the meaning of inner complex formation? Let's discuss about. Actually, the sp3 formation is actually as the number of hybridized orbitals are come from the same number of cells. Means sp3 hybridization can be only formed when 3 p orbitals and 1 s orbital hybridized together, and both types of orbitals must belong to the same cell. You can say n and n cell. Both types of orbital belongs to the same cell. But in the case of DSP2, the D is n minus 1 D and S and NP. The hybridization orbital, the hybridized orbitals actually comes from the different cell. You can see the D subcell are the inner cell and S and P called outer cell. If the S belongs to the fourth cell, D must be belong to the third cell, because here is a n minus 1, and P must be belong to the fourth cell as well. Here this is called NS plus NP plus ND. In the case of so students, you should learn a very important thing is that D2sp3 can only be formed when the inner d orbitals hybridized along with outer s and outer p orbitals. But in the case of sp3d2, all orbitals belongs to the same cell. For example, if the s orbitals belongs to the fourth cell, P also belongs to the fourth cell, and D also belongs to the fourth cell. These are called outer orbitals used. Means the d orbitals belongs to the outer orbital, but in the last case the d orbitals belongs to the inner orbitals. And that is the reason they are called inner complexes and they are called outer complexes. DSP2 also belongs to the inner complexes and sp3 belongs to the outer complexes. So we have, on the basis of the nature of complex formation, we have 2 categories. That is, either the complex can be outer complex formation because the outer D are used during hybridization, or the complex can be inner complex formation because the d orbitals are used from the inner d orbitals. So these are the category on the basis of geometry, on the basis of hybridization, on the basis of coordination number, and on the basis of nature of complex, we can be define the different examples as a very clear manner. Of 5 different types of, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 types of hybridization, one by one, you can just count. 5 types of hybridization, 4 types of geometries, 3 types of coordination number, and 2 types of nature of complexes. Okay, inner complex as well as outer complex. So I have explained here what is the meaning of inner complex and outer complex. Okay. One more problem will be there. How we came to know which examples can be belongs to the inner complex and in which category the complex can form outer complex. Either way, the answer, the clear answer of this question can only be dealt in the next theory, that is called a crystal field theory. But some appropriate answer can be explained on the basis of valency bond theory as well. Actually, during the explanation of valency bond theory, it was observed that many of the complexes have different color and magnetic properties. So on the basis of magnetic property, they actually explained the inner complex and outer complexes. There are some exceptions also that can be only explained in the crystal field theory, but let's deal first what are the some nature of the magnetic portion. Actually, it is believed that if the after complex formation, if there is any unpaired electrons remain in central middle atom d orbitals, they are said to be called paramagnetic. The paramagnetic category indicating the number of unpaired electrons are there, the presence of unpaired electrons. And in the same way, if there is only paired electrons are present, all electrons are paired in the complex formation, during complex formation and after complex formation, they are called diamagnetic behavior. So during valency bond theory explanation, the scientists, they actually explained on the basis of magnetic behavior. And for that, I am going to take one example for cobalt. The same example given in the NCERT book. I am taking the example of cobalt. You can see the IUPAC name of this compound complex will be hexaamine cobalt third iron, because the complex is iron. And in this category, it was observed that ammonia when combined with the cobalt, the complex nature is come under the category of diamagnetism. Diamagnetism means the all electrons are paired, and this can only be done when the d orbitals contain all paired electrons. But let's suppose how the electrons can be paired. Okay, let's discuss about cobalt. The oxidation number of cobalt is +3. And the electronic configuration will be, the outer electronic configuration will be, you are knowing, in the case of cobalt, the outer configuration is called S2D7. Finally, the atomic number is 27. So outer electronic configuration will be S2D7, but +3 is there. So configuration will be like 3D6, 4S0. 4 cell is already used, then we can write like 4P0 and 4D0 as well. This will be the electronic configuration of the cobalt plus 3 ion 3d6, 4s0, 4p0 and 4d0. Let's suppose what is the orbital electronic arrangement? In ground state, there are electrons, this is called 3D, electrons are, this is called 4s, 4p, 4d. Now the problem is, if this complex form the last. First count the coordination number, 6 ligand, 6 donor atom, coordination number 6. So coordination number 6, there is two possibility, either sp3d2 or d2sp3. If we are going through the sp3d2 suppose, then all orbitals are used from the outer category. So you can see 1s, 3p and 2d orbitals can be used for the formation of sp3d2 hybridization. But the problem is, in the case of sp3d2 complex formation, in this example, the 4 electrons remain unpaired and the complex must be behave like a paramagnetic. But practically it is observed that this complex belongs to the category of diamagnetic. Now the question arises, how this complex can be a diamagnetic? So there is only possibility. What is the possibility now? D2sp3 is the possibility where if the two d orbitals are empty by any time, any way, the two orbitals if they empty, then D2sp3 formation can be takes place. Now again the question, how these D2 orbitals can be empty? And this can be done on the basis of excited state. Look at the possibility. In excited state, all 6 electrons get paired. All 6 electrons get paired. Means when 6 ammonia ligands approaching to the cobalt, because of the ammonia ligand and coordinate bond formation, during this process in the excited state, all 6 electrons in 3d orbitals must be get paired to release 2 orbitals as empty, and now these two orbitals from the inner d orbitals, 1 s orbital and 3 p orbitals are together hybridized to form D2sp3 category. And now the complex can be a diamagnetic instead of paramagnetic. Now you can see all orbitals are paired. Now the question is, the valency bond theory actually explains the two things. The one thing is, what will be the nature of coordination complex formation, inner or outer? The second thing, how we came to know that the complex can be inner or outer on the basis of magnetic behavior. If the complex is diamagnetic, because the magnetic behavior can be practically withdrawn. So on the basis of magnetic behavior, we can explain the nature of complex formation of this type of example. Because we are knowing already, the complex is diamagnetic, there should not be any unpaired electron present there. And because of only that, the complex formation must be inner, because during inner complex formation, two d orbitals from the inner d required, and there is no role of the outer d orbitals. There is no role because we are going with the inner complex formation. Students, it is very clear from the data that this type of examples come under the category of inner complex formation, D2sp3 hybridization, octahedral geometry. Now, some of the questions still remain. Why ammonia do so? Why? Because of ammonia there is a pairing of electron done. Why? Because of ammonia the inner two orbitals are used instead of outer d orbitals, even the outer d orbitals are present there. So these answers can be explained on the basis of crystal field theory, because these questions are actually a limitation of this balancing rod theory. So these will not be explained here. When I will deal with the crystal field theory, I will explain all about that. I will take one more example in the case of cobalt. Cobalt F6 minus 3. The hexafluoridocobaltate ion. Cobaltate third ion. The name of this complex is hexafluoridocobaltate because anionic complex is there. Cobaltate third is the oxidation number in Roman and ion. So, in the case of this complex, these two complexes of the cobalt can be cleared all related data. What are there? Actually, it is observed that in this complex, the nature of complex is paramagnetic. And paramagnetic complex only can be when there is unpaired electrons are present. It means during the formation of this complex, there should not be pairing of the electron of the inner d orbitals, and outer d orbitals are used instead of inner orbitals. Means just opposite of the complex formation by this ammonia ligand. So we can say that the fluoride ligands cannot pair the electron present in the inner d orbitals, but ammonia can do so. That is the basic difference between the ligands. It is not depends upon the cobalt atom. It is depends upon the ligand, the nature of ligands. So some of the ligands from this data, you can explain. Some of the ligands can pair the inner d orbitals and form inner complex. Some of the ligands cannot pair the number of electrons present in the inner orbitals and will form outer complex. For example, hexafluoridocobaltate third ion form outer complex from the same hybridization, same geometry octahedral, but hybridization will be sp3d2 in this category. So, in the case of cobalt F6, the same. Look at the possibility now. In the case of CuF6, in this complex category, the electron will not get paired. And because of that, the 6 orbital required for the hybridization must be taken from the outer d, and now instead of inner d orbitals, 2 outer d orbitals are used. 2 outer d orbitals are used and they are called sp3d2 hybridization in the case of Cu. So students, with help of these two examples, we are able to explain the formation of inner complex and outer complex. Actually, these all conversations related to this complex formation and examples are actually incomplete without explaining the nature of ligands and the nature of pairing of electrons. But as I said, these questions can be answered in the next category, crystal field theory, whenever the lecture will come on this topic. But before that, why not you learn first the nature of different hybridization, their geometry formation, and the inner and outer complex formation and their region on the basis of magnetic properties first. Then we'll explain about the color formation, nature of ligands, why ammonia can pair electrons, why not that F6 minus. So we'll explain all this also in the next upcoming lectures. But before going to that, let's learn first. This is called the ammonia. This complex called inner complex formation. D2sp3 hybridization, electron get paired, and because of that, this is called this will form outer complex formation. Two orbitals are outer orbitals of D can be used during hybridization. Electron cannot be paired during the complex formation. This is all about. I am taking this example. I will explain in the next lecture. About the tetrahedral and square planar formation, and then we'll share some limitations, some more limitation of the same valency band theory, and we'll get the all answer which are not explained in this valency band theory in next theory, that is called the crystal field theory, one of the most important theory in this chapter, because all related data and the questions answer can be explained there only. Okay, so till that you should learn all these category. Note down whatever I have actually speak over here, and try to learn the valency band theory with some other examples as well. You can take some more example from like FeCl6 minus FeCl6 and FeCl6. Okay, I am just giving this example. Just go through that. What will be the possibility of the inner complex formation or outer complex formation in that example? This example. Okay, you can take some more example from your NCERT book for the same explanation. Why paramagnetic? Why diamagnetic? Why inner complex? Why outer complex? Okay, we'll discuss some more things in the next upcoming lecture. Okay, bye.